This is going to be one of the most important videos that I've ever made in my life. If I get banned from everywhere, you never see my face again, I want you to remember me as the person who told you this exact thing. And I promise, if you follow this to T, just like I said in all my other episodes, this is going to be the one thing that's going to make your life better in the deen and the hereafter. Recently, I got banned from YouTube. Obviously, many of you guys know. And the weird thing is that I knew I was going to get banned. Because every video I made where I said the word hijabi, where I called out the Muslim feminists, that was so bad that, there were like hundreds of people reporting me. These like hijabis, they were all reporting my videos. So I knew it was going to come to a stop eventually. But people ask me, like some people, why did you keep making those videos? And I thought about that for a while. And I realized there's literally no point in me saying anything or existing in the first place as a man if I don't live up to my truth. If I don't speak without holding anything back and, make my mark on the wall in the purest sense possible. But that's exactly why they banned me. Because the world we live in today is operated, it's based on lies. And this thing with lies is something that I've been thinking about a lot for the past like 3 years. Because nobody really tells you what it really means, right? When I say lie, you might think about, like lying about like a car, like, the real price of the car, or like lying about like I don't know, like your accomplishments or something. But truth is like it's a very, very prominent topic. Even you watching my video right now, you are pursuing truth. The problem now is that truth is getting removed from everywhere, from the Muslim community, from the Western community, everywhere. And I have a few verses that I've written down. I actually went pretty crazy with writings that are going to explain what I'm trying to say here. Or who you believe. Those of you who believe, stand out firmly for justice as witnesses to Allah, even though it be against yourselves, your parents, or your kin. This is from the Holy Quran. Now, notice it says, stand up firmly for justice, whether it's against your parents, anyone. There's another verse. Do not mix the truth with falsehood, or conceal the truth where you know it. So I have a story about this whole topic that this verse is going to relate to. One of the brothers, who's a common viewer of this channel, he told me in one of the comment sections a little while ago. He said I think he was like 16 or 17 years old. He was having these urges, as we all do living in the West, like urges towards zina, urges towards like, procreation. And this really pissed me off because I guess he's been watching my videos. I guess he's been listening to me like motivate people to tell the truth. And he went up to his family in the family table. And obviously in most Muslim places, this is a very awkward topic, which it shouldn't be. And he told them that he wants to get married because he's having these urges and he's afraid he's going to fall into zina. I think that's what he told them. Wallahi, his mother, she went completely spastic and she threatened to harm him. I'm not going to get into details because it gets pretty gruesome of what she did, or what she tried to do, or what she said she will do. But if you are getting threats of harm and you're having your mother crash out, go absolutely nuts, when you say something as perfectly normal as this, I'm 16 years old, I'm afraid I will get into zina, there's so much fitna around me, I want to get married. If my son or daughter said this to me, I would be so happy. I'd be like, oh, bro, I'm raising one hell of a son. And I will actually go and try to get him married, or I would tell him to wait like 6 months or a year or whatever it might be, right? But this is absolutely crazy. This is scary, wallahi. And what's the scariest part is that this is a completely normal scenario. I expect 90%, probably more, 99% of Muslim families to react like this to the 16-year-old saying something like this. So what is happening? We are getting threatened when we acknowledge basic human needs. And this doesn't just go for zina, don't get me wrong, because if you say something like, oh, I feel this way, right? Like, I feel like this place is not right for me. I feel like this degree is not right for me. I feel like this lifestyle, this job is not right for me. I want to be like this because I think it's better. You're gonna get the same reaction because they don't believe in like individual differences. They think everybody should be exactly the same. Even though we all know very well in this day and age, and it says in Islam as well, that everybody has unique traits. Right? It's completely obvious, but they will deny this because they want to keep this tradition running, because they want control over you. Because if you have individuality, then people can't control you. And everything just goes back to control. I have one more hadith here that I really wanted to say. Truthfulness leads to righteousness, and the righteousness leads to paradise. A man continues to tell the truth until he's recorded with Allah as a truthful person. Wallahi, before I even remembered this verse, I read it a long time ago, but I didn't remember it at all. I knew that this was the case because it's obvious. Because in my life, I've realized what the truth leads to, and it always aligns with Islam and being a good person. So I didn't even know this existed, and it was there, just like a basic human knowledge. Like you can just know this without even reading the Quran. And it's so underappreciated. Nobody in the modern Muslim culture follows this. Nobody cares about truth. Think about it. Everybody in the modern world denies the truth using Islam. Your parents will deny the truth of you being a different person, individual person, and they'll use Islam to deny it. They'll say, oh, family is important in Islam. You have to listen to your parents in Islam. They just banned it. So this is really messed up. Do you understand? They are using the Quran to go against the Quran. Like, it's really mind-blowing. And this happens on a lot higher level than just family. It happens in the entire society, which I'll get into in a second. But I want you to understand that we are in a very strange position as Muslims living in the West. Even if you are living in a Muslim country, it's probably still going to be very relatable. I'm going to bring your attention to something that you may have never heard of, but it's probably one of the most interesting things that you'll ever learn. It's about the USSR, the Soviet Union. I don't know why Muslims just never know or learn about the Soviet Union, even though it's like the most interesting thing that's ever happened. But essentially, I'm partly from there. Like, it ended just before I was born, so I kind of still have like the same mentality as the Soviets. But Soviet Union was this huge empire. It had Russia, Uzbekistan, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Romania, Macedonia. Like a huge part of the world was in the Soviet Union. But it wasn't like an empire that was like, gathered with power. There was a bit of that involved, but everybody just united because they wanted equality and fairness under communism and socialism. It was an absolute disaster. They kept denying the truth because they believed so harshly in equality. So they would have someone who's really good performer, like for example, an amazing farmer who produces like 80% of the stock in the entire Soviet Union. It was just like family. And because they were so adamant on making everyone equal, they couldn't have someone above others. So they took that family out. They killed them. They raped them and killed them. Insanity, right? But to them, it felt like they were doing the right thing. And they just kept doing this again and again. Because, look, after you kill the best farmers in the entire country, you're going to have a bunch of people starve to death. And what they did, they just ignored that because they wanted principle over reality. They were like, oh, yeah, people are dying, that's reality. But we are so crazy about equality, we're such good people that we're going to ignore the truth because equality is the truth. Like some BS like that, right? And it kept going on for years and years and years. People kept starving. Like everything was just corrupted. Like you just be in a building and it might just collapse at any time because like someone paid them off and they saved money on the materials or something, right? So people kept denying it. And there was like a massive explosion near the end of the Soviet Union. You might have heard of it. It's called Chernobyl, where like this nuclear reactor in a city called Chernobyl exploded and the entire city has become unlivable. Like that was like 100 years ago or something, and you still can't go in there. Like it's still polluted, and the animals there became zombies. Like the entire place like radiating. It's absolutely insane. Like if you touch it, your skin dries off and you just die. And they kept denying that was happening. So everybody in Chernobyl was just dying. Because if they admitted that there was something wrong, they would have to acknowledge that the Soviet Union can't build like proper nuclear power plants, which they couldn't. There was also a plane crash in the Soviet Union. This is a bit of a side point, but this is really funny. There was a plane crash, and then they saw it. So many people died, but they kept saying, no, planes don't crash in the Soviet Union. They kept saying, no, planes don't crash in the Soviet Soyuz. They kept saying that, and like they just ignored that the plane crashed. And when the dead people's families came forth and they said, "Where's my child? He went on a plane. Did he die? Like, did the plane crash? Is that what happened?" They were all like, "What? You don't have a son? It says in the documents you don't have a son. This person is crazy. Get them to the mental asylum." They kept taking people to the mental asylum because they just created a reality in their minds where like that plane didn't crash, and people literally became deluded. It was insane. Like people would literally look at like a black car and they would say it's red. They just didn't get like their eyes just began to like not trust them anymore. Everything became weird. But that's a side point. When the Chernobyl exploded, there was this huge courtroom hearing with this person named Legasov. And Legasov was a scientist who was really, really like into telling the truth. He was like really stubborn about truth for some reason. Extremely charismatic person, complete hero. And he stood next to the judge and he delivered this lecture that was absolutely crazy. I'm going to paraphrase, but this is what he said. He said, our lies and our corruption is basically what define us. When the truth offends, we just lie and lie and lie until we can't even remember that it's there. But it is there. Every single lie we tell incurs a debt to the truth. Sooner or later, that debt is paid. That's how a nuclear power plant explodes. That scene gives me chills to this day, bro. It's absolutely crazy. And think about this, right? Soviet Union was a crazy place and so many millions of people died. It's the exact same thing that's happening in the Muslim community. One of the quotes they had in the Soviet Union was, our strength comes from our reputation. That's exactly what's happening in the Muslim community. Everybody's just really obsessed with keeping up this weird reputation. Even if it goes against the truth, they conceal the truth. And they conceal the truth and they mix it with falsehood. Just like the Quran verse says, do not mix the truth with falsehood or conceal the truth while you know it's there. Straight from the Quran. And that's what we're doing. And this takes us back to the main reason that I was banned. Specifically because I was talking about Muslim feminists who are going crazy. And this is a very, very, very touchy topic that might get me banned from Spotify as well, but I don't care anymore. So, Muslim feminists are probably some of the most obnoxious people in the world. They're all hoes. Like, I'm not even trying to be offensive. They're literally like, they encourage divorces. And every one of them that I met in person, they've all slept around. This is not me exposing anyone's sins. It's just me speaking in generalities and talking about trends. So this has nothing to do with exposing someone's sins. I made many videos about this. I said like these like hijabis, like these people, they're really, they're destroying the community. They're encouraging divorces. They're bad people, and every single Muslim person in the comments was against me. They were standing up for the women, for the feminists. They were saying, "No, you're a bad person because you are exposing people's sins, and only Allah can judge. And it says in this verse in the Quran that you can't, you can't call someone out until you have your own affairs straight or something." And they just flood me with Quran verses to try to defend these hijabis. Think about this. You have people that are deliberately corrupting the ummah, encouraging like cancer in young women's brains and leading to divorces, which we all know objectively is a bad thing. Some of them literally just like normalize promiscuity. And they say, "Oh, Allah is forgiving." And nobody has the balls to say anything. And when you say something, the Muslims attack you, not the Westerners. The Muslims attack me. So basically what they're saying is, these women are allowed to say whatever you want. And if you call them out, this verse says that you can't expose people's sins. And this is genuinely terrifying for me as someone who's from the Muslim world. Isn't this exactly what these verses talk about, man? Like, using Islam to like defy truth about the world and generalities and trends, logic, everything is defied based on these women's feelings, these feminists. That's why I kept saying the truth. And that's why I got banned. Because guess what? The entire system of YouTube is designed to purport lies. And this is a lie that they really, really like. Because we Muslim men and women, we all know that these crazy things are happening. We all know that these women aren't good people. And not all of them, they are good hijabis. Everyone knows this. But these hijabi influencers and these hijabis you see on the train to the city and when you're walking around on Friday night and they're like partying, we know these are horrible people that are destroying the community. They are cancer, they're parasites, they're germs. And yet, as soon as someone like me comes out and says it, it's a really bad thing, isn't it? We can't trust our eyes anymore. We're not allowed to say what we see, the truth. Because firstly, YouTube will ban us. And secondly, the Muslims will attack us. This is how bad it's gotten. We are burying the truth. But guess what? Guess what? Sooner or later, the debt is paid. Because every single lie we are telling is incurring a debt to the truth. One day it's all going to come out. It's going to be an explosion. And that can be in the form of, like zina becoming normalized, a bunch of feminist women going out naked or something. Like something like crazy like that will happen at some point if we don't put a stop to this at very, very early stages. I believe that this has gone pretty extreme by now. Like we are at like we're getting closer to the end is what I believe. So let me just wipe out my camera. Yeah, I knew it had some dust on it. Anyway, back to the topic. What should be your takeaway from this video? Because there's only so much you can control. You can go out and you can protest against these hijab influencers, but you'll probably get banned, realistically. So there's not much you can do. If you go and you say these things in person, people will hate you. But there are some things that you can do right now that's going to make your life more truthful, and by extension of that, it's going to help the ummah, help you have a better life. You just set everything in order. But you need to be the type of guy who's willing to forget about reputation and all this BS for the pursuit of truth. And truth, as the verse says, will lead you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and lead you closer to paradise. I've written some examples. Say, for example, you know deep down, if you go and you study psychology, if you study exercise science or something at a university, you know that this is your passion and you will be able to start a business, you're going to be able to help people based off that. But say, for example, your family is really against it because they want you to pursue a degree in IT or like medicine or something like that. They really want you to do this. They're like really obsessed with it. If you listen to them, then you are effectively lying, because you are denying the truth about yourself, your own urges, your own natural inclinations are truth. They're not just fairy tale BS. Your talents are natural. This can be measured in like intelligence forms, objective truth. So if you decide to study something else, then you are in a way saying, oh, no, I don't have those inclinations. Like, it's all the same. All human beings are the same. Whereas if you go against what your parents say and you explain to them, or you do your best to like calm them down, and you still go out and you pursue the degree that you know is right for you, you have just moved closer to the truth, and your life has become a lot better. Over time, all this truth will build up and you'll become an unstoppable force of nature. You're going to feel so different. Every single time you take off these lies and you follow the truth, it's going to feel like you are like getting rid of some weight off your body. Like, imagine you are carrying a bunch of chains with weights on you. Each time you stop lying, you put one weight down. It becomes easier. And when you go towards the truth, it feels like swimming with the current. But first you need to get rid of all the lies that you've been fed, because trust me, there's a billion of them. Another example, and this is something I always talk about, but it's a good example. Learning martial arts. Chances are your family is not going to be too happy with that. They're going to think, oh, you're going to get hurt, you're going to become aggressive, you're going to become this. And you might know for a fact that it's going to make you a better person. I know that for a fact. I know that 100%. I'm telling you, that's an objective truth. If you learn martial arts, you will become a better person in every possible way. 100% fact. Are you going to listen to your parents even though you know this is the truth? Are you going to listen to your own fears, like your brain telling you, oh, yeah, martial arts is actually haram. Oh, martial arts, oh, it's not good because what if I get injured? Oh, it's not good because, if you hurt the brain, then you won't be able to think and I won't be able to become smart. It's all BS. You know that's not true at all. Maybe certain types of martial arts are haram. If you are really that religious, then you should be following other things as well. If you are the most religious person in the world and you are following all the small things, then go and do wrestling. That's not impermissible. In fact, it's encouraged. Go and do that. You're going to cope again, won't you? Anyway, that's one way that you're going to come closer to the truth, is learning martial arts. Even if you know that even if people around you are trying to convince you otherwise. One step below that, in my opinion, is weightlifting and working out. Working out is extremely good for you. You know for a fact that if you work out, you're going to get stronger. So you need to be pursuing that. This is like a form of truth. Standing out for your beliefs in front of many people. And this is something I'm very, very familiar with, because there have been times in my life at work, in like meetings, where things were done and said that were completely against my beliefs. And 99% of you people, I'm just kidding, you people would have just not said anything. You just sit and not say anything. Even if they ask for your opinion, you'll be like, oh, I don't know, it depends, or some BS. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care if I'm about to get fired. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth about what I think about feminism, about LGBTQ, everything. I'll just tell the truth. Boom, 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 spit it all out. And I will say, I think Islam is the only right religion, and everyone else is following a religion that's not true. I might get a lot of hate. Everyone might hate me from that day forward. But I will still be happy. I'll be coming to that exact place the next day with everyone hating me, and I'll be happier than ever, and I'll be like walking around like this, like, oh, you hate me? No problem. Come meet me outside, pussy. Because I'm living to the truth. Truth is my guide, not other people or the society or liberalism or whatever, or the YouTube algorithm. Final point I'm going to make, and this is going to be like another, maybe even more controversial. Why do you think West is so successful right now? And don't cope and say, oh, it's because they stole from the Muslim countries. Shut the hell up, bro. That's not true at all. The West is not successful because they invaded Afghanistan that one time. And just stop coping. The West is successful because they've collectively decided that truth is the most important thing. I'll give you an example. If there is a Muslim, so let's say if there's a Western family, and one of the guys there goes up and says, I don't think this is right. Say they all want to pursue like this business, or they all want to like, become like a Buddhist or whatever. And one person in the family says, I don't think this is right. Say everyone's a Christian and one person says, I think Islam is the right religion. And it's this youngest son. He'd say he's like 17, 18 years old, and he says that. 90% of Western people, maybe even 99%, will be okay with that. They will say, son, if that's what you believe, you can believe that, because everyone's entitled to their own opinions and beliefs. And that goes with everything. Whether that person is saying, I think that I need to pursue martial arts rather than uni. Their parents might give them advice like, oh no, martial arts is hard to make money, uni will be better, but they're not going to try to like control them. If the son is telling the truth about something, and everybody knows this, he's saying that, for example, Islam is true, and everybody's against him, and the father says that Islam is not true, because what that son is saying is the truth and people know it, everybody will just lean towards the truth instead of the father. They'll support the son even though he's like young and whatever. In the Muslim world, it doesn't matter how right you are. You could go up to your family and tell them all the things that I told you. You could say, oh, that mortgage we're paying, that's actually haram, we shouldn't do it, let's sell the house or something. Or you go up and you say, oh, that thing, how we drink on every every Eid, or I don't know, like every New Year's or something, we shouldn't do that because that's haram. New Year is haram, alcohol is haram. And your father says, oh no, it's all right, it's actually like, sometimes everybody sins or he just mix up something. Because you are the younger person in the family, they will still listen to the father, because Muslim countries value tradition, culture over family. They will say they value Islam over family. They value Islam over like all the other factors. But the truth is, if you follow Islam correctly, you will be coming closer to the truth. So when they are denying things and they are, like for example, they're telling you to finish your degree before you can get married, or they're telling you you should pursue this degree instead of this, they are not following Islam. This has nothing to do with Islam. They are just living in culture and tradition and reputation. They are controlled by reputation. That's another thing that I skipped, because lies are directly connected with reputation. People lie because they want to seem different than they are. I know countless Muslim families who live in this huge house and they like have this like really fancy car, and they can't even afford that stuff. They are paying like insane amounts of interest on all those things just to be able to have them. And why is that? Because they want to flex. They want to drive around the neighborhood and they want this uncle to see that they're successful, even though they're not. So they're denying the truth that they can't afford it. So they can make people think that they can, and they can enhance their reputation. And that's what interest is. You know how I said before that every lie we tell incurs a debt to the truth? This is literally what's happening. Every time they lie and they pretend that they can afford this car, this house, they're incurring a debt in the form of interest. And they're paying like twice the amount over years and years and years. They'll never be able to afford that thing because they're living in truth. That's why interest is haram. Do you understand how all these things connect? Oh man, such a genius. Oh, that just came to my head. It wasn't even part of my topic today. That's crazy. I'm actually, I'm not gonna brag too much about my intelligence, as you all know already how intelligent I am. If you want to keep listening to the truth, make sure you are following this podcast. I know it's hard to find because not Spotify is a weird platform, but turn on the notifications because every single episode is going to change your life. So turn on the notifications, follow me on here, follow my Instagram, follow my TikTok, and I made a Rumble account as well. If you search up Muslim Boris, it should come up. I already posted 2 videos. So follow me on Rumble because I'll be posting truthful videos on there as well in case I get banned on Spotify, which I suspect might be coming after this episode. Oh man.